Harry's Wife, part 104.45. Everyone loves me. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. It is the default setting of the narcissist to believe that everybody likes, loves, wants to sleep with the narcissist until the narcissism determines otherwise. This is part of the delusion of the narcissist to believe that whoever they interact with is immediately interested in them, because after all, the narcissist is the most interesting person in the room, in the building, in the town, in the state, in the country, on the planet. This generates a form of self-confidence that assists with the gathering of the prime aims. By regarding the individual being spoken to or interacted with as essentially favourable to the narcissist, this is more likely to compel the narcissist to find it easier to assert control over them. The female narcissist that stands there thinking, he's into me, he wants to get in my panties, is more likely then to flirt with that individual, speak favourably to them, persuaded by that narcissism that effectively this is a territory that's easy to conquer, go for it. Whereas if the narcissist was immediately apprehensive of the individual, there would be a hesitation with regard to the assertion of control and drawing of fuel. Now, a distinction must be drawn where the narcissism recognizes that the individual concerned poses some kind of threat. So it might be, for instance, that the previous day, the relevant appliance ignored the narcissist, and then the narcissist sees this appliance on the following day. There, the narcissism recalls the wounding that took place the previous day, and unless there are overriding factors, will not cause the narcissist to engage, but rather assert control, indirectly or by staying in a position of withdrawal. So, for instance, the narcissism compels the narcissist to think, oh, look, there she is again, rude bitch, and therefore comments to his friend, oh, I see she's here again, you know she ignored me yesterday, she is effing rude. And the friend agrees, thus control is obtained indirectly. But usually, when a narcissist is engaging somebody for the first time, there's no prior history of threat to control or wounding that the narcissism takes into account, then the default setting is, this person will like me, this person thinks I'm interesting, this person fancies me, this person wants to sleep with me. And there'll be those of you that have engaged with narcissists who will have seen that mentality, where the narcissist just assumes that everybody they interact with is really into them, really likes them, wants to go to bed with them. Indeed, you will often have found situations where the narcissist will then tell you that. Oh, you see that guy over there? He was making eyes at me. You see her over there? She's totally into me, mate. And of course, you would probably think, no, they just said hello. Or they weren't even looking at you. Why do you think that they fancy you? Why do you think that they're into you? And you're rather perplexed by that. Of course, what's happening is that there are two dynamics at work. First of all, the narcissism causes the narcissist to believe that person A on the other side of the room is into them. That means that they may well then approach them in order to assert further control over them and draw fuel from them. If this is made mention of to you, then furthermore it's an attempt to indirectly assert control over person A and also to assert control directly over you by triangulating you with person A. Remember, the narcissism must ensure that the narcissist asserts control over all relevant appliances. Therefore, that would include person A in the room, person B if there was an interaction, C, D, E, and so on and so forth, and you as well. Accordingly, that would mean, for instance, triangulating you with other people who are in the room, so that you respond to that in some shape or form. You may have grown weary of it and you go, I see, okay. Or just go, oh, really? Because you don't know what you're dealing with, and therefore you assume that what the narcissist told you is correct. Harry's wife's standpoint is exactly the same. Initially, she believes that everybody really likes her, that they find her fascinating, interesting, that they should be interested in her because she is such a talented individual with so much to share with the world and so much to tell everybody. She believes that she's radiant, beautiful, charismatic, irresistible to men, and therefore that any man that speaks to her immediately wants to go to bed with her, fall in love with her, kiss her, that any woman that speaks to her thinks that she's interesting, fantastic, the new best friend. As I've mentioned previously, because of the absence of boundary recognition and sense of entitlement and the need to assert control, you will often find with narcissists that they'll proclaim that you're suddenly best friends, even though you've only spent 5 minutes talking to them and know very little about one another. This is a prevailing mindset which is always in place until the narcissism dislodges it as a consequence of alternative conduct, for instance, where wounding has previously been experienced. This mindset of Harry's wife is quite ridiculous, but it is standard. It will often be shown, for instance, in the way that she would be overly familiar with people, touching them, talking to them in a way as if she's known them all her life. Of course, with some skilled narcissists, the ability to do that causes you to feel like the centre of the universe, and therefore you succumb to the charms of the narcissist because that overfamiliarity is done in an expert way. But with Harry's wife, she makes it so that you should come to her. And we have a piece of video footage which shows this mindset in action. It's, I think, the final attendance that Harry and Harry's wife had before they stepped down from royal duties. And at the relevant event, they arrived somewhat late, where there was an ongoing applause already taking place. I've removed the sound from the footage because it was somewhat distorted, and all you would hear is clapping anyway. You'd just hear applause, so it doesn't take anything away from the footage by not hearing that. But I'm going to allow you to watch the footage so that you can focus on the reactions of Harry's wife as she arrives and how she responds. I'll play it a couple of times and then I'll dissect it for you, in relation to the topic that I'm talking about. You see that Harry and Harry's wife arrive at the event. They've turned up somewhat late, and there's applause already taking place. The applause is for relevant members of the military and is not for Harry and Harry's wife. Harry, of course, will know this. Notice he just wanders down and looks for a seat. But notice as Harry's wife comes down and he adjusts some things so she could sit down, moving the programme, she looks around, and there is the grin. In her deluded mind, she believes that everybody's applauding her. Now, as you'll have noticed, that when they entranced, one gentleman turns to look, and a couple of people look across, as you would do. You see somebody in your peripheral vision and you look, but they then immediately look back in front of them and continue applauding, because they're not applauding the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The individuals are applauding elsewhere, and of course, as Harry and his wife enter, and she is then looking around like the cat that got the cream, because in her deluded mind, she believes everybody's applauding her, because naturally they would do, because she's Harry's wife. She is the Duchess of Sussex. She's amazing, beautiful, stylish, fantastic, and all you little people ought to be applauding me, because here I am, and I'm so special. And you can see, again, as she soaks up the apparent fuel, although it isn't actually meant for her, but that doesn't matter, because she believes it is for her, therefore it has its effect, and makes her feel powerful. And she's looking around thinking, yes, all of these people clapping for me, I'm so special. And notice, of course, there is the hand that comes out for the purposes of directing control over Harry. The usual situation of nudging him, putting a arm on his hand, a hand on his arm, and then, having done that, out comes the grip of doom. Yes, like a pair of teenagers, he's gripping his hand, looking around, grin, 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 grin. Harry looks slightly bemused, but you can see that other people are looking around as if to say, they think we're applauding them, and we're not. Harry giving a little bit of a wave around. Harry's wife loving every moment of it as she drinks up all of the fuel. It's demonstrative of Harry's wife's mindset that she believes that everybody's applauding her. Wherever she goes, there's almost like a soundtrack playing in her mind, the movie of her life, with her, of course, centre stage. And here, this is demonstrative of the way that she believes that everybody likes her, everybody wants to be her, everybody wants to fall in love with her. That when she turns up late for an event, showing a lack of accountability for behaviours, that she automatically assumes that the applause is for her when it's not. And you can see her reaction. It fuels her. It causes her to smile. She deems it, subconsciously, to be pure positive fuel, denoting that all of these people in attendance are under control and she's gathering a rather large amount of fuel. But it just goes to show the delusion of Harry's wife's mind in action. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.